What's happening, everybody? It's Sean with Reactions to the Classics. And today we got a top 10 brought to us by a friend, longtime patron and supporter of the channel, D. Always appreciate you, D. We have the Pointer Sisters. If you like sports anyway, check out the Patreon link below. The patrons make this channel go, and we so appreciate them. I know a lot of Pointer Sister stuff being a child of the 80s, but there's a lot of songs on here I don't know. I only know the 1980s plus stuff. So there's a lot of stuff on here from before that. So I'm really looking forward to diving into it. As we always do before we get into the actual top 10, let's get a little background on the Pointer Sisters. And D always provides me with great background and insight, and this is no exception. He always outdoes himself. So D tells us the Pointer Sisters were a singing group of four sisters, June, Bonnie, Anita, and Ruth from Oakland, who are the most diversified group I have ever heard. Whether it was pop, disco, blues, swing, R&B, funk, bebop, country, jazz, ragtime, or rock, they could do it all with flair and class, and all in immaculate 3- or 4-part harmonies. After working as both a duet and a trio, they formed the quartet in 1972 and released their first album in 1973. Most of their songs were R&B, funk, or jazz. Since they're not generally known as a country act, most people are surprised to find out that in 1975 they received their first Grammy for Best Country Vocal Performance for their song Fairy Tale on their 1974 album That's a Plenty. They were the first African-American group to perform at the Grand Ole Opry. Wow, that is quite a distinction there. In 1977, both June and Bonnie left the group. June needed a break and Bonnie pursued a solo career. Anita and Ruth were left to decide what direction the group would take. They decided to change to a more contemporary mix of rock and pop dance music. In 1978, June decided to return to the group and they became a trio, which is how I know them. Their next two albums, Energy and Priority, were a mix of soft and hard-edged rock. Energy contained a cover of Bruce Springsteen's Fire, which went to number 2 on Billboard. Riding that success, they switched again to pop dance music and saw that most consistent success of their career in 1984 with 4 top 10 singles. In 1985, they were among the many artists who performed on the We Are the World single. They continued to release new material into the 1980s with diminishing success. June died in 2006 and Bonnie died in 2020. Anita no longer performs publicly. The Pointer Sisters occasionally tour with Ruth, her daughter, and granddaughter. And here's what I found on just a little finishing stuff. They've won 3 Grammys, received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, had 13 U.S. top 20 hits between 73 and 85. Nice little career there. And in December 2016, Billboard ranked them as the 80th most successful dance artist of all time. The next year in December 17, Billboard ranked them as the 93rd most successful Hot 100 artist of all time. That is quite a distinction when you think about the history of music, and as the 32nd most successful Hot 100 women or women's artists of all time. So that is a fantastic write-up. That's some great information. Now let's jump into this top 10. I just talked about it. We got a song that I am very familiar with. We got Fire coming in at number 10. It, of course, was on that 1978 album, Energy. D says it's a cover of Bruce Springsteen's classic. Not only did he love it, but it went all the way to number 2 on Billboard. Their highest success on that chart. I found it was their first single as the trio of Anita, June, and Ruth. Anita's on lead. It got stuck at number 2 in February 79 behind Rod Stewart's Do You Think I'm Sexy? So at least it's an iconic track that kept them out. It was eventually tied with Slow Hand in 1981 as their highest charting single. Billboard named the song number 48 on their list of 100 greatest girl group songs of all time. So this is going to be interesting for me because I don't know this song. I don't know over half of these songs. I'll tell you the few that I do, but I definitely, being a huge Springsteen fan, know the Springsteen version. As always, the music will not be in the video. Check out the link below if you want to follow along and listen with me. If you just want to know what I think, stay right here. Once again, thanks, D. Wow, I really enjoyed that one. It was super good. And you know, I know the Springsteen version, so if you were around during this time, everyone I'm sure knows the Pointer Sisters one. Bruce put out an album, a live album from 75 to 85. There's a recording of this song on there when it was brought out in 1985. It was a 1978 performance because I know it's not a Springsteen review here, guys, but Springsteen wrote it for Darkness on the Edge of Town, the album that came out at that time, but he had written 52 tracks. Long story, it was 3 years before since his Born to Run album, and because of a lot of management stuff and record company stuff, he hadn't released anything, so he had all these songs. So they kept it off the album because his manager, John Landau, felt it didn't fit the thematic theme, and he knew that Columbia Records, his record company, would release that as a single. He didn't want that. But apparently Bruce became upset. He liked the Pointer Sisters version, but when it reached number 2, because his highest charting track at the time was Born to Run at 23, and then of course Man for Man and recorded Blinded by the Light, and that went to number 1. That's another Bruce track. So Bruce finally got his top 10 with Hungry Heart in 1980, a track, by the way, that he originally meant for the Ramones. And he meant for this track for Elvis Presley. He'd sent it to Elvis, a demo, but Elvis died before he could record it or decide if he wanted to record it. So I know it's a lot that's not on the Pointer Sisters, but an interesting story of this song. It works so well. It's basically, she's telling the guy, look, this is not going to work out, but then every time they kiss and get together, she can't resist the attraction. So she's telling him one thing and doing another, and she's finally like, I can't resist the fire when we're together. But Pointer Sisters sounded really good on this one. We're going to dial it back to 1974 for the next track. That's a Plenty, Sure Fit USA off the That's a Plenty album. As I said, in 1974, Dee said, this is in ragtime, a terrific example of their versatility. The Pointer Sisters, That's a Plenty is written by the great Benny Goodman. I definitely didn't expect that. I know Dee is putting a lot of diversity on here. I hear this kind of music. I wasn't alive when ragtime music was huge. And I mean, I know Dee wasn't either. I think of the circus. It sounds like circus music, right? So intricate, so difficult, so all in. Just a really interesting song that I quite enjoyed. It's not something I'll probably go back and revisit just because it's so far out of my wheelhouse, but it was good. We're going to move from that to a song I do know. What a difference in the two styles. We're going to go to Automatic from the Breakout album in 1983. Dee said in the early 80s they decided to focus on pop, R&B, and dance music. This is one of my favorites from that time. I know this song. It was their second single off this album. Went to 5 in the U.S. Billboard named the song 94 on their list of 100 greatest girl songs of all time. Went to 2 in the UK, their biggest hit there, and was their first top 40 hit to feature Ruth Pointer's distinctive contralto on lead. There you have it, Automatic. I mean, it's a many songs of this era. It's not really about the lyrics. The lyrics aren't any sort of complex thing. They're repeated a lot. I mean, basically, she's just putty in his hands, you know. The chorus, no way to control, is totally automatic. Whenever you're around, I'm walking blindfolded, completely automatic. All of my symptoms are down, 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 automatic. Automatic. Nice little touch in there because it sticks in your head. I mean, I remember that in the millisecond that it happened. You know, it's more about the vibe here, the dance type of feeling to it. I like this song. I'm familiar with it, so really familiar with it, so it's kind of hard to be objective on. It's a little long for me. At the 3:15, 3:20 mark, it could have ended. Had a nice little run there, and I bet there's probably a single edit that does end there, but a nice offering. Now we're going to go back to that Plenty album. At number 7, we'll have Salt Peanuts. Remember that album's way back in 74. Dee said, who else in the 70s was doing bebop? This was written in 1942 by Dizzy Gillespie, the king of bebop. So we had ragtime already off this album at song number 9 with That's a Plenty. Now we got Salt Peanuts. I'm excited to see what this sounds like. Salt Peanuts, look, this is not my style of music either. That's a Plenty. They're very diverse on this album because a little spoiler, we might have something more from this album. So I'm sure Dee loves this because he's got several of these songs in the top 10. But even though this is not my style of music because I've never really listened to it. Not like this, you know, just hear it in movies or whatever. It is quite interesting. You got to be mega talented to be able to do this. So I really do enjoy listening to how they do. I mean, you just talk about all in. And obviously the piano, the upright bass, and the drumming have to be right on this as well to make it all work. And it was super good. So just a super good instrumentation run there, and the vocals are spot on, man. Now we're gonna go to a hit off their first album, Yes We Can, from 1973, self-titled album. Dee said, this is the first song of theirs I heard. It got my attention immediately. It lands somewhere between R&B and funk. So what a diversity, right, from what we just heard. This blended with the perfect 4-part harmony made for a really unique sound that made me want to hear more. And I found it was originally recorded as Yes We Can. This is Yes We Can. I think I might have just said Yes We Can in the title. But Pointer Sisters, Yes We Can. The original song, Yes We Can, by Lee Dorsey on his album, Yes We Can, released in 1970 and co-produced with Alan Toussaint, the writer of this song. It was producer David Rubinson's suggestion that the Pointer Sisters record the song. Rubinson said, "I loved almost everything Alan Toussaint ever wrote, and Yes, We Can was one of the songs the Pointer Sisters recorded as a demo while they were seeking a label deal." So this is a real OG track. Became the first hit single, went all the way to number 11 in the U.S. Yes, We Can. Don't forget that second can. Great lyricism on this. I mentioned it during the reaction. Just everything works on it. The harmonies, they sound great. It's a little bit long for me, but that's kind of the deal back then. You know, some repetition, but it's 1973, and, you know, we make a lot of 6-minute tracks back then. But, yeah, like I said, great message written in 1970. Now the time's for all good men to get together with one another. We got to iron out our problems and iron out our quarrels and try to live like brothers and try to find a piece of land without stepping on one another, and do respect the women of the world. Remember, you all have mothers. You know, this country wasn't, the United States wasn't, firing on all cylinders in 1970 when the song was written. Not that it is now by any means, but there's a lot of things going on with civil rights, women's rights. And the chorus, I know we can make it, I know darn well we can work it out. Oh, yes, we can. I know we can. Yes, we can. Why can't we? We want to get together, we can work it out. So unity. Unity is what it's about, and that's still the message in 2021. We still haven't figured this out in the United States, but talking about taking care of our children as well. Really good harmonizing, as Dee mentioned, and really enjoyed that one. And now we're up to one of the other two songs that I know this one very well, as you see below. It's Neutron Dance. From the album Breakout in 1983, Dee said blending pop with a blues structure is a winning bet, and this one wins big time. I found, this is how I know this song, became a top 10 hit in 1985, number 6 on the Billboard chart, and now, by the way, their last top 10 hit. Its success was because it was featured prominently on the Eddie Murphy classic, Beverly Hills Cop. We got Ruth on lead. Another interesting thing, this was released at the height of the Cold War. Neutron Dance was misinterpreted by the Russian government as a song about nuclear war. Come on, guys. Neutron Dance, man. I don't know what the Neutron Dance is, but I like to give me some of that, because song basically starts out and it's kind of personal issues. You know, they're having issues, locked behind the door. Verse 2, there's no money falling from the sky because a man took my heart and robbed me blind. Someone stole my brand new Chevrolet and the rent is due and I got no place to stay. And then verse 3, we go into, industry's not paying a price that's fair. All the common people breathe in filthy air. And then you do the little Lord have mercy. Imagine, you guys don't even know what's coming, right? And it's hard to say just how some things never change. It's hard to find any strength to draw the line. Oh, I'm just burning, doing the Neutron Dance. And they just keep repeating that stuff. It just, no matter what's going on, they're doing this Neutron Dance. It makes them happy, man. And that's what we all need to do. We need to all find our own Neutron Dance, right? So I know that one so well, obviously, as you see me singing along. It's one of those songs you got to sing along with. That's why it works. But really well done. Now we're going to go back to the That's a Plenty album, and we've got Shaky Flat Blues. Dee says this one is blues with class. So we've already had ragtime and bebop on this album. Now we got blues. Shaky Flat Blues. I can see why Dee put this so high up there. Just a fantastic song. I got my Shaky Flat Blues. I'm just going to pack up my pack and move. Things aren't going well. Got those blues. I'm going to get out of here. Great harmonies, great instrumentation. Fantastic lead vocal, but it's those harmonies that really hammer this thing through, right? And there's 4 of them here, so that always helps as well. Yeah, man, I just really liked it. I know it's not great analysis there, but it just all works together. And on a song like this, that's kind of the way it either works or it doesn't when you're trying to do this blues style, because the instrumentation's got to be top notch along with the vocals. You got to approach those vocals in a certain way, and they definitely did that. We're going to stay on this album. We're going to go to our number 3. We got Banging on the Pipes / Steam Heat. Dee says, they always had a sense of humor, and it is displayed here. I can't help but snap my fingers. I found that the Steam Heat version of this is a show tune from the 1954 Broadway musical The Pajama Game, written by Richard Adler and Jerry Ross. Banging on the Pipes / Steam Heat. So about the first 2 minutes were banging on the pipes, where I'm sure they were telling kind of their own story. It's very amusing. It was great. And Steam Heat works perfectly because they're talking about banging on the pipes, because they're not working and froze up, or, those various things that you deal with in a poor setup that you may have in an apartment or whatever. And I just thought it was really funny. And Then they went right into that Steam Heat, which you can tell was written for Broadway. Their harmonies work so well in the way they play off of each other. And then they kind of bring parts of Banging on the Pipes in with that. So thought that was excellent. Banging on the Pipes seems like something that could be like in an animated movie, right? Somebody who's down on their luck kind of singing that along. So that's a Plenty is just quite the diverse album, right? We've had everything off of this album. Now we're to number 2. The other song I'm very familiar with. I'm So Excited, off the So Excited album in 1982. Dee said, I really like this from their pop/disco period. I found it was jointly written and composed by the sisters in collaboration with Trevor Lawrence. Not that Trevor Lawrence, guys. It was originally released in 1982, went to 30 in the US, saw a remixed re-release in 1984, went to number 9. That would be the one that I would really know. Billboard named it 23 on that list of 100 greatest girl group songs of all time. Anita is so excited. Look, this is one of those songs we sang along to back in the day, and I know almost all the words to it, but until you sit here and really read the words and realize, man, this is a dirty song, man. They're about to, and she's so excited about it, kind of lays out why she's so excited about it. But the chorus, it's just repetitive lyrics again to put the song together, which is fine because this is all about the vibe, right? You want to dance along, sing every word to it if you know the song. I mean, that's what I want to do. So I would really like this song, but once you read the lyrics, like, okay, all right. I'm so excited. I just can't hide. I'm about to lose control, and I think I like it. I mean, I knew all that, and I know, I want you. I just never really put all that 2 and 2 together of exactly how descript this was. Well, here we go. It's time. We're going to number 1. Got any guesses? I know a few more of their songs, but that is not what number 1 is. Number 1 is I Ain't Got Nothing But the Blues. Our first and only, obviously, entry from the Steppin' album in 1975. It's a Duke Ellington medley. Dee said, if I could only use one word to describe Duke Ellington, I would choose elegant. This was released the year after his death, and I'm sure he would have approved. And I found it's a medley in tribute to Duke. It's got I Ain't Got Nothing But the Blues, Rocks in My Bed, Creole Love Song, Satin Doll, I Got It Bad, and That Ain't Good, and Mood Indigo. So I think it's kind of just a conglomeration of all of that. Let's check it out. Number 1. I Ain't Got Nothing But the Blues. Dee's number 1. That would be my number 1 as well. As he said, Duke Ellington, he described Duke Ellington as elegant. This song is so well put together. A medley. They keep revisiting I Ain't Got Nothing But the Blues. Intersperse everything else in there. Just so well done. I would have never dreamed this would have been the Pointer Sisters, but just, everything on this thing is spot on. They sound fantastic, and it would have been my number 1 choice as well. So that'll segue us into my favorite tracks. Obviously, I Ain't Got Nothing But the Blues. Yes, We Can, and Fire. So see, I chose 3 songs that I didn't know. Obviously, I know Fire, but I didn't know the Pointer Sisters version of it. I know Automatic, Neutron Dance. If Dee wouldn't have brought me this, I would have always thought that the Pointer Sisters were I'm So Excited, Automatic, Neutron Dance, another song, Jump, that type of sound. I had no idea they were this diverse. That's a Plenty album. It's something I'm going to go listen to in its entirety because so much musical diversity on that one, and interested to find out what else is on there. But as always, Dee, appreciate you. Appreciate everybody who has come along for this ride. And until next time, I will see you.